I mean, we wouldn't have been able to do it. We just didn't have the credit history. Doing that and us being first-time home buyers are going to live in it gave us that 3.5%, which makes it doable and better for them, So like you're saying, it's a win-win.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real Estate Investing School podcast. This is your host, Brody Fawcett, and this is another Real Deal series. And I have a family member guest to join us today, Tyler Bennett in the house. What's up, Ty? How are you, man?
What's up? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. Excited and honored to have you, and extra excited that we're related. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you. So you married my little sister a few years ago, and you guys are ready to have baby number 2 any day now, just like us, except for baby number 3. So
that's
we're
right.
We're just waiting. We're just waiting and ready, right?
Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Well, dude, I've been trying to get you and Shay on the show for a minute now because I think this first deal that you guys did is so exciting, and the way you kind of structured it and the way you've been house hacking it. And we're not going to dive into your new one too much, but you just barely came from officially like sending all the docs and everything for this next deal you guys are doing, which is exciting.
Yeah, that makes it exciting. It's always a fun day. So
yeah. Especially when it's seller financed, especially when it's, because you guys negotiated how much down on this new one?
Yeah, 10%? So we negotiated just over 5% actually. So we got them down from when we last talked, and interest only payments for the first year, which will give us a little breathing room. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
So cool. Right by college campus. And it sounds like there's like a detached garage and then a separate entrance to the basement, and there's like plumbing hookups or something, so you can add another kitchen.
Yeah, it would be easy to add a kitchen down there for sure.
Yeah, cool. So exciting. Well, we'll save that one for another day. I think that's so cool what you guys are doing there, and how you've intentionally gone about that. And with that being said, dude, let's talk about this awesome deal. You guys that are new to this show, you know that we focus on how somebody found a deal, how they funded it, and how they forced it. And those are the ways you go and create real estate deals. A lot of people think it's just only about finding the deal and like, hey, how do I go find a good deal? How do I go find a good deal? The market's high, interest rates are high. I need to find a good deal. That's only one part of it. There's so much more, right? The way you fund something, the way you get creative on it, which you're going to find out exactly what Shay and Ty did with this first deal they got. So give us kind of the 30,000 foot view of what this deal is, why you guys got it, just kind of some rough details, and then we'll dive into the nitty gritty.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. So we had just been married maybe a year and a half, couple of years. We were living in someone's basement, and we saw a for sale by owner sign go up just around the corner. So we tried to call on it. We never got a hold of them, but your mom actually got a hold of them. And so anyways,
he's a hustler.
Yeah, right by the college, Dixie State University, or I guess Utah Tech. It's I guess it was a 4-bed, 2-bath. There's a big detached garage, split level home. So there's a lot of options with split level homes. But yeah, I mean, we love the area right by the college. We figured we should probably try and make it happen.
So cool, dude. So, and like, that was the first house I bought, was a split level home as well. And since then I've bought in a few and even like separated them out, which we're going to get into kind of how you did it as well. But it makes it so easy because of the different levels of the floor and anyhow, it just works out great. But cool. So with that, you guys are at a spot where you're like, hey, we're renting. I know like leading up to that point, we talked a lot about real estate just in general. And you guys are like, all right, I want to get started. I want to buy something.
Yep.
And this one was cool. Like for people that are listening, it's like, why is it so special that it's close to college campus? I mean, because you guys are only a handful of houses away, which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
So people listening, like, why is that important, or why is that a good find, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, I mean, our idea, we've been listening to Bigger Pockets, talking with you a lot, and so we wanted to find something that we could rent out, use it as investment, and we wanted to live in it for a little bit at least. But right by the college, you have new college students coming in or new couples all the time. So there's always renters available. And that's why we thought it would be such a good buy.
Yeah. I love it. Awesome. Cool. So maybe talk too on just the fact, like give us the purchase price of this property. Cause it's crazy. Actually, like back then, right? We thought it was like, oh, this is kind of on the higher end, and
Yeah.
it's crazy how quick it's
Hmm.
appreciated just in general. And especially you guys
Yep.
forced that appreciation by
Yeah.
what you kind of did to the
Hmm.
place. But yeah, what was the purchase price? And then tell us a little bit about what you did to the house. And it was a single family house when you bought it, how you rehabbed it, and how much money you put into it.
Yeah. So we purchased it at 450,000. We put 3.5% down, just an FHA loan. Um, and so it was split level. Before we bought it, they had already remodeled it so they could sell it. So the main house was in good shape, new floor, new carpet, new paint, things like that, which was nice. And so I mean, you talked with us a lot about it. We brainstormed so many ideas, rent by room, 3 units in the split level. Um, we ended up just splitting it in half right at the stairs, right by the front entrance. So there's, I mean, basically 2 floors downstairs, 2 floors upstairs. We added a bedroom downstairs, so now there's 2 bedrooms downstairs and a bathroom, and then that's where the laundry room originally was, but we just put a kitchen in there because of the water hookups and all that. Um, and I guess when we were running all these numbers, I mean, it was penciling in. We were gonna be able to cover the mortgage, like our estimation, but once we decided to put a third unit back in the garage, the detached garage, that's when it really started to make sense. So
Mm-hmm.
we had to do that whole thing though. We had to redo the garage roof, run plumbing out there, do all the electrical, put up all the walls. So that was the majority of our expenses, the big project. In the house, we just put up a couple walls and bought some cabinets and an
Mm-hmm.
oven, things like that. So the majority of it was spent outside in that garage, digging holes and running plumbing. And I mean,
Yep.
we did a lot of it by ourselves, but
Yeah, I
I mean,
remember.
your brothers are handy, so they taught me a few things.
Yeah, yeah. You and my dad spent some late nights over there. I know that for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, because to get into it, we needed co-signers, and so your dad and mom just helped us out with that. So we split this all the costs 50-50, and we've been doing this together, which has been nice. So,
Yeah, yeah, so cool. Which I want to dive into kind of how you guys structured that because I think
hmm
that's really interesting, just in general. So, just kind
yeah.
of giving a brief overview still of the project. What was the purchase
hmm
price total?
450,000.
So 450,000. And what's your mortgage on it?
The mortgage is just over 2,000.
Just over 2,000. And then I
hmm
know you guys are living in the main unit, but you're about to move
Yeah.
out. What once you
hmm
move out, what's the total rent going to be? Or what is it now
Yes.
maybe? Does it completely cover your mortgage with you living
hmm
there?
Yeah,
Okay.
right now it covers it with the 2 units. It's about 20, 2,500.
Wow.
Um, and then once we move out, we haven't officially decided, but we'd probably add another 17, 1,800 for that unit. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
it'll
nicer one.
it'll be in good shape.
Cool. Awesome. So you'll be doing really well with that. And you only
Yeah.
put 3.5% down, and we're going to get
hmm
into that a little bit more, but you split that down payment with my parents then?
No, we actually didn't. So we did the down payment. She put her commission towards
Okay.
the closing cost, and so whatever was left of the closing cost we covered. But everything after that has been like all the expenses have been um,
50-50.
50-50. And then obviously, when we move out, we're going to structure things a little different since we're managing where things will change a little bit. But as
Hmm.
of right now, that's how it is. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's been awesome. College student and newly married, you don't have the money for all that stuff, so it's nice to split it.
100%. Yeah.
hmm
100%. And the credit too. Like a lot of people let that hold
Yep.
them back. Like I don't have enough money. I don't have enough credit yet,
hmm
enough work history, etc. Same thing with like moving forward, even though you guys could go qualify for, a good size loan now,
hmm
with this new house you're buying, like you've structured it to where you don't have to, it's seller
Yep.
financed.
Yeah, that makes
I
it
think
easy.
it's on a 15-year balloon, right? Your new one,
Yep. Yeah, so we
which is
amortized
awesome.
it at 30 years and then 15 years. So I mean, we have a lot of time to refinance or
100%.
do whatever what we want. So it's awesome.
Yep. Yep. So good. Okay. So yeah, let's dive into some of this stuff. So obviously an awesome deal, lots of margin on the table, which goes back to just like being able to look at things creatively and not letting certain things hold you back. And I think people that are listening that are like, working on their first deal right now, this is going to be so important to them to kind of understand like, hey, there's a way to go get this stuff done. The last number I want to touch on was, what was your total rehab? I know you've created this one single family house and you've turned it into 3 units now, and you've added some bedrooms, added some kitchens, you even added a detached garage, you added like a laundry room, right?
Yeah.
It's just for laundry. So you have that, which is separate, which is kind of cool. And we're anyone that's listening on or watching on YouTube, or listening that wants to go watch this, we'll kind of throw up maybe some of the pictures and videos and stuff so people can see.
Yeah.
I think I have stuff even from the walkthrough when we were like trying to design it and how to strategically do it, and some pictures up on the roof. I think you were gone that day when we replaced the roof. I don't know.
No, I spent a lot of time up there. The worst part of it.
I just remember Grandpa Bill up there, and he's like with his walker like on top of the roof. I'm just like,
I know.
Grandpa, you're gonna fall off, dude.
Yeah, I was worried.
I know. He's on his hands and knees like pulling out nails with his fingers. I'm like, Grandpa, we're good.
Yeah, we got this.
It's so fun. But yeah, so what's the total? I know you split that 50-50, but what's the total rehab roughly?
Yeah, so I had a spreadsheet with all the numbers. I went and looked for it, and I don't know where it went, but from what I remember and some of the numbers I've pulled up, we spent right around 40,000.
Cool.
I mean,
total.
Yeah, and that's total. So, and that's with all the electrical and roofing. That's where a lot of the costs came in. I mean, we had to basically replace the whole roof. So,
yeah.
And I mean, I could be off a little, but that's from my memory and from some of the things I have.
Yeah. So. Cool. No, that gives us a good idea just in general. And yeah, cool. So let's kind of back up a minute. We talk about how you found it, how you funded it, how you forced it. Essentially what we're looking at is this single family house close to college campus that you bought, able to look at a little bit strategically. If you were to buy it and live there just as is, one, you wouldn't be able to supplement any of the mortgage. And then two, when you move out and you go to turn it into a rental and rent it out, you're probably like breaking even on the cash flow side of things, like right at what your mortgage costs. And so you're able to look at it a little bit differently, through a different lens, and get a little bit creative, spend a little bit of money on making it nice and getting good return there. Talking about how you found it. So you said that you saw for sale by owner sign. Like this is huge just in general, but like, why is that so important?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons is with a for sale by owner, they're I guess the reason they're selling it by themselves is to save money, and so you don't have all those realtor fees associated. I'm a realtor, so I always try to get those for sale by owners for myself, but I mean, there's a little bit more wiggle room when you work with a for sale by owner, and if you can get on it fast, there's not as many people rushing at it because it's not on the MLS or the market where everybody's looking on Zillow a lot of times. So, and we had found it before they'd even posted it on Zillow. So I know they still had a lot of offers, and I mean, we got lucky to get it. There was tons of cash offers, and I mean, your mom having the relationship with that person helped a lot, actually.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was going to touch on too, because I actually ran into the seller when you guys were all under contract, and I know for a fact he had higher offers, all cash. And it just like, it goes back when we're talking about finding these deals and the strategy behind that, like, because he had met you guys, because he had met my mom, because my mom was extra persistent just in general, and like did a good job of like selling you guys, and like this is their first home, they want to live here, like he was emotionally attached to that, and he did a huge favor, and I think he actually owned it with his son, if I remember right. And right. I think his son was leaning towards like, hey dad, let's just take this higher offer, and he kind of told his son like no, these guys are good people, like we've talked to them, kind of been working with them, let's just like finish this out with them.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big blessing. I mean, we were a little worried when we heard cash offers were coming in, and it ended up appraising for. We were originally under contract at 480. It appraised for 450, and we didn't have the cash to cover that, and
Mm,
they ended up dropping it because of that relationship we built. And so, I
yeah.
mean, we wouldn't have been able to do it if they didn't drop it. So it's
That goes a
another,
long ways, man. Yeah,
yeah.
that's I want to touch on that because that's cool. Sometimes we forget those little pieces where we're like, oh,
Hmm.
that was actually like a big deal, you know? Like the little things
Hmm.
of is as silly as it sounds. I mean, you probably have some of your clients is like where you write a letter, you know, or you
Hmm.
like people make decisions emotionally all the
Yep.
time. We probably should
Hmm.
make them more logically than emotionally, but
Yep.
like you can create these win-win scenarios because of that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just kind of strategically think about things that way. So
Yep. Definitely.
um, love it. So great way of finding the deal. And then being close to college campus too just gives you the option always to be able to rent by the room also, which
Hmm.
is
Yep.
huge cash flow and more money that way.
Yep. Yeah, and that's, I mean, we added a room in the second, I guess the second unit in case we wanted to rent by room. We prefer to stick to couples. It just or just one person, or it just makes it easier. We've mostly dealt with newly married couples, but we kind of created it that way so we could have an option if it comes to
Yeah.
it to rent by the room. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. So good. Yeah, and this will, I think everyone, especially get into like your detached garage stuff. I think almost
Hmm.
everybody needs to understand this and look at this because yeah, you had to replace the roof and yeah, like run all the electrical and tie into the sewer and plumbing and all this
Hmm.
stuff. Which this is random plug, like just people in general. The nice thing with being close to college campus too is the zoning's a lot different with density and different things
Yep.
like that. So
A
obviously
lot
go
more
do your own
flexible.
homework with you guys that are listening that want to go and turn a house into multiple units. But um it's actually insane. Like cabinets aren't that expensive, you know, appliances,
Hmm.
like yeah, they can add up, but you can get stuff on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, get a good deal on some things. But it's crazy the space of this garage and adding a bathroom, adding, you know, a bedroom, a kitchen area in this small, like 2-car detached garage
Hmm.
and how much you've turned that into. And our homie Beto did a lot of like the tile and painting and
Yep. Yeah.
sometimes you get what you pay for, but like,
Hmm.
you like saved a ton of money that way and
Yeah.
he did a
No,
good
definitely.
job. So cool stuff
Hmm.
there. But okay, so talking about how you funded it, because I want to just get into this a little bit more, because my parents actually co-signed for me on my first house as well, and my mom like was kind of the one that pushed me into like buying a house too. I didn't even understand
Yep.
it, and I didn't even realize how cool it was until I was actually like living there and
Hmm.
collecting rent. Like it took a couple months, right? And I think they learned their lesson on that one from a standpoint of they didn't structure anything with me, with them keeping any of the ownership, right?
Hmm.
And which was great for me because I made a lot of money on
Yeah.
that house, and
Hmm.
they came to me, you know, a year and a half later, and were like, "Hey, we need to get our name off of this," and it worked out because I was able to do a cash out
Yeah.
refinance and get their name off of the loan, and so that one's like been amazing for me. But I think they're like, "Oh, this is cool, this real estate thing," or I've seen what that property turned into. We should actually retain some of the ownership on the next one for our
Yeah.
next kids. And so
Hmm.
that's kind of how it went down for you guys, which I think is amazing. It's still
Yeah.
win-win both
Hmm.
ways,
Yeah,
right? Because you
definitely.
didn't have those opportunities,
Hmm.
just like I didn't. But cool. So then you guys structured it. You kind of went into the numbers on that. You split it 50-50. The
Yep.
cool thing with co-signing, people that are listening, a lot of times it needs to be a family member. But you can talk to your financial expert with that, your lending expert. But I think it's a good strategy both ways, right? Like you might be somebody in my parents' situation that's like, hey, you know, I want to buy an investment property and have some more passive income, but like I don't want to go put 20-25% down
Hmm.
on a house by college campus to be able to rent it out. You don't get as high of a cash on cash return, all these things, right? And on your guys' side of things, you're like, hey, I want to get into real estate, but like I don't have the credit for it, or I don't have the maybe the work history or the tax returns to be able to qualify for this house. And so being able to partner up together, they're taking advantage of you owner occupying the home, qualifying for a lower down payment, and even splitting some of the costs, right? And paying
Hmm.
for a lot of the down payment. You're taking advantage of the other end of it and their skill set. So it's, I mean, that's partnerships in general, but like it
Yep.
literally is a win for you and it's a win for them. And it's amazing.
Yeah, I know we're super grateful for it. And I mean, your parents are always willing to jump in and figure out a way to help someone, so or especially their kids. So I mean, we wouldn't have been able to do it. We just didn't have the credit history, and
Yep.
doing that and us being first time home buyers are going to live in it gave us that 3.5%, which makes it doable and better for them. So like you're saying, it's a win-win. And
Yeah.
I mean, this we're doing now, we're not partnering with anybody, but I mean, we could, but we're at a spot where we don't need to now. But
Hmm.
I think if you can partner to get started, I mean, it's awesome. So put us
Yeah.
3 years ahead of where we would have been.
Totally. Totally. And
Hmm.
the nice thing with the way you're doing this one now is, a lot of people might be like, oh, I can't go get another property yet because I need to keep saving up more money or whatever it
Hmm.
may be. But like you guys got creative and how you negotiated this future one, you're putting, a low amount down, all these cool things with the property. You guys have built a relationship there. And I know we're not diving into that one too much, but that one's fresh because Mishayla and I spent a lot of time just like back and
Yeah.
forth. And what about this? And what
Yep.
about that? And so I
Hmm.
think from what he initially wanted and came to you guys with, as opposed to what you guys have now, what you've
Yep.
negotiated and with down payment, with interest rates, with amortization,
Hmm. Yep.
schedule, all of those things and interest only payments, like all of that was like by design, right? It's not like
Hmm.
he just
Yep.
came to you and was like, hey, I'll do all of these things. You're like, no, let's figure out this balance. What do you
Yep.
want? This is what we want.
Hmm.
And it's this like beautiful kind of chess game where you're like, okay,
Yep.
let's figure out this win-win scenario. So I
Hmm.
love it, man. Anything else on this deal that you want to touch on?
The one that we've already done, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wish Michelle was here. She could have been on. I mean, I'm more the passive person, and she's a lot like your mom. So even with this one we just did, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if it's gonna work now. Like, we'll just take our time, figure it out. And she's like, I'm gonna text and call, and we're gonna do this. And I mean, so I think a lot of times you just gotta jump into it and try and figure it out. I mean, if it doesn't end up working, so you get under contract and all of a sudden the numbers aren't working, you can always back out. But just trying to jump in and figure it out as you go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something I feel like you're good at. Your mom's good at. Michelle is just a go-getter. So I
Yeah.
sometimes I'm just along for the ride and trying to keep up with them, but I think
No,
it's awesome.
yeah, that's what you say, dude. You're a hustler, man. And I think just I wish she was on too, only for the fact it gives a good dynamic. She
Hmm.
texted me and's like, "Hey, I got to go put Andy down," but it
Mm.
gives a really good dynamic just with like husband wife duo and how you guys have done it. And
Hmm.
Andrea, she was very very. She's not as involved as much anymore in a lot of our real estate investing. And half the time I buy properties and like, hey, we're buying this and you feel good
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, I feel good about it. If you do, cool. Like, and she doesn't see a lot of this stuff and it's what works now. But earlier on, she was like heavily, heavily involved, right? Because it's like she has to be a part of the mission. She has to get on board. She has to understand it.
Hmm.
We have to have be on the same team, so to speak. And I think a lot of times that happens with couples. You end up with almost like this not even miscommunication, but like, for example, like if you're all in and you're listening to all the real estate MS school trainings and you're going through it and you're listening to the podcast and you're getting excited and you're understanding because you're getting more information, there's less fear involved. And you're like, oh, this person did this, I can do this. And you're seeing all the ways that happen, but then your spouse isn't exposed to any of that. And then all of a sudden an opportunity comes up. And for them, it's like so scary, so out of left field.
Hmm.
Like, let's not do this. Like, my I grew up saying like that's very risky and people telling me that. And so
Hmm.
it's, I don't want to say it causes problems, but I think it holds people back in a lot of ways. And so even I was talking to somebody on the phone yesterday, just signed up for real estate investing school. And I'm like, hey, let's get your wife access to this as well. and she can have her own login. It's kind of like a 2-for-1 with spouses because it's what's helped us so much, and you have to be on the same page. But let her go through it. Let her get exposed to it, get excited about it, because it's going to go such a long ways when you guys are ready to take action. One motivated person as opposed to like this power couple dual front, it changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we both, I think the good thing is sometimes one's way into it and then the other one's not, and then it just kind of bounces back and forth. But
Yes.
we've sat down, we've talked about our goals, what we want to do, and so we're both okay being a little bit uncomfortable, whether that's during a remodel or, not having laundry for however long until we finish the laundry out by the detached garage and having to take loads to the dry cleaner or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But just understanding and goal setting. And obviously, I feel like as you go through the remodeling process, we have different visions, and sometimes that creates a little bit of, arguments. But
Of course.
I'm more simple. She's more, I guess, probably the better designer, and I'm just want to get it done. So, but
You're
no,
my
it's
dad in the
awesome.
relationship, and she's my mom, 100%.
Yeah, yeah. People tell us
100%.
that all the time. So,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's great though.
so true. No, it is good. And Andrew and I'll even do that too. We'll play like devil's advocate on a lot of decisions,
Mm-hmm.
just
Yep.
just to do it, just to think through, okay, like worst case scenario,
Mm-hmm.
what if we did do this? Okay, what about this scenario? Did you think that through? And so it's kind of fun doing that just in general because you get to
Yep.
see these different viewpoints. But
Mm-hmm.
anything else, to any advice to anybody kind of wrapping this thing up, if they're like, hey, I'm a married couple, we've been married a year and a half, or we don't own a house yet, or we have a kid but we want to start down this journey, more so to speak, to go and replicate kind of what you guys did. Any other advice that you would give somebody?
Yeah, I think, how we ended up getting the second one is, we wanted to get something sooner. It's been 3 years since the last one. That was our goal, was a year, basically a year to
Yep.
do one. But, interest rates, things change. You can always figure things out. But we started talking around to the people in our neighborhood and in our church and saying, hey, we want to find another house, but we want to stay in the neighborhood by the college. And sooner than later, we had all sorts of people calling us, telling us about this one home that they're going to sell, and we would have had no idea if we didn't start telling people. So I think you just
Yeah.
put it out there, tell people you're wanting to get into real estate investing or you're wanting to buy a house, and people will bring you options, whether they're good or bad. But
Yeah.
we've been bugging this person for probably half a year,
Yep.
staying on top of mind with him. So
Yep.
I think you
And,
just
and
gotta,
there are other options too. Like I know
yeah,
Shay called me last week, was like, like I feel bad bugging him again or bothering him again or bringing it up again because I know there's other
yep,
people that want it. But like,
mm-hmm,
hey, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can
yep,
happen? You stay forefront. You let them know, like, hey,
yeah,
I'm serious. We want this. We care about it. Like, you play the game for a little bit, and it pays off
mm-hmm,
for the rest of your life.
yep, yeah. So yeah, I'm the one that's like, hey, let's just wait a little bit. She's like, no, I'm gonna keep calling him. We're gonna keep asking the questions, and I'm grateful she's like that. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's been awesome.
yeah, 100%. Sweet, dude. Well, if people want to follow your journey, your guys' journey, what's the best place for them to connect with you?
I guess you could go to Instagram. You could do Tyler Bennett underscore realtor. That's mine. I don't know my wife's, but you'll see some real estate stuff there, see kind of about our life.
Awesome. Awesome. I love it, dude. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Tell Shay we missed her, and so excited for you guys with this new deal. So excited for the previous deal you guys have done. It's so
Hmm.
awesome. Just like there's so much power in one deal, dude. One deal is setting you guys up, and it's paying for,
Hmm.
stuff for the rest of your life, and you
Yeah,
do a few
yeah,
more and
definitely.
you're financially free. So congrats
Hmm.
to you guys, dude. So awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for having us, and thanks for all the advice you give us. It's nice to have someone like you that we can call up anytime, so it makes it a little
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm here for. The family,
Hmm.
family hookup. So,
Yep.
all right, brother. Much love. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.